Pathfinder Second Edition is a spiritual successor to earlier versions of Dungeons & Dragons, particularly Dungeons & Dragons 3rd Edition, or 3X or 3.5, whatever you want to call it. Pathfinder Second Edition offers deep tactical combat with immense customization options for your characters. That starts at level 1 when you build a brand new character and goes throughout the life of that character as they continue to level up. In Pathfinder 2nd Edition, you build your character by choosing an ancestry, which is the equivalent of race or species in Dungeons & Dragons. There are more than 30 of these to choose from, and each of them has a number of heritage or ancestry feats, so you can customize your race. And it doesn't just happen at character creation, you continue to get feats as you level up based on your ancestry. There are more than 20 different classes available in Pathfinder. Those allow you to customize and tweak them as you level up, so you don't only make changes in the beginning, and you don't only make them at 2nd or 3rd level. You will continue to build and customize them out. You can multi-class if you choose. There is something called archetype feats, which is kind of like subclasses, rather than being stuck with the traditional action, move action, standard action, reaction that you would be in Dungeons & Dragons. Instead, you have an action economy built on action points, which allows more flexibility in combat for different characters. There are a number of optional rules. It has its own orc license, Open RPG Creative License, which is similar to OGL, or Open Gaming License, that Wizards of the Coast originally put out, but is separate. So if you're looking at creating third-party content, that is also an option available to you. One of the things I find most interesting is I played Pathfinder 1st Edition, and it didn't quite hit the sweet spot for me. Now in 2nd Edition, they've kind of taken everything and cranked it up to 11, and I find it more enjoyable. Also, during 1st Edition Pathfinder, there were a number of feats and everything you could do to customize your character. When you would go and you would share your ideas in forums and online places, you could very easily run into a lot of negativity. I certainly did. Why would you choose that? That's not the most optimal choice. Why aren't you min-maxing this way? In Pathfinder 2nd Edition, min-maxing and over-optimization is certainly still possible. However, sharing creative and new and different ideas is not met with that kind of negative hostility. Instead, it is celebrated. So the community has shifted to a more supportive, enjoyable community from where it was during the 1st edition set of Pathfinder. I'm not one to say that Paizo is perfect. Nobody is, no company is. However, the few missteps they have made that I have seen over the years are minuscule compared to the things that Wizards of the Coast has done to hamper and harm the community and the hobby. In fact, Paizo is so supportive of the hobby and people playing their games, they've teamed up with a website called the Archives of Nethys, which is absolutely free, you do not need a membership for, that contains all of their game rules. Not just the basics, not everything with the serial numbers filed off. All the rules are readily available on the website, and as new books come out, they continue to add that content to the website, and it's absolutely free for anyone to access. They have removed the paywall. Having said all this, yes, there are some challenges. If you are someone who's into really rules light game and super narrative games, this may not be it. It is a medium crunch game, which means there's a lot of options and a lot of things to keep track of, and a learning curve. It's not the easiest to learn or pick up, but it's also not that hard. However, there are a number of bits of information that as you play the game, you will learn, you will have to keep in mind, and you will need to apply as the rules and the game go on. So while it may not be a game for everybody, for people who are interested in games like Rollmaster or Dungeons & Dragons or even Call of Cthulhu, anything with a healthy dose of rules, Pathfinder 2nd Edition is going to be fine. If you're more of a cozy RPG, or if you play a lot of Fate or Cortex and Cypher and that's your jam, Pathfinder 2nd Edition may not be for you, and that's okay. Different strokes for different folks. I enjoy Pathfinder 2nd Edition. I know it's nowhere near as popular as Dungeons & Dragons. It never will be. But because I enjoy it, I'm going to be talking more about it. We're going to look at the classes. We're going to look at some ancestries. We're going to do some character building. We're going to have a little bit of fun with it. Also, if you're big into lore, Pathfinder has Galorion. That is their key setting. Everything kind of builds in there, and they have brought in everything but the kitchen sink. And frankly, if I look hard enough, I can probably find the kitchen sink in their canon. I'm not a huge supporter of canon for various reasons I've shared in other videos, but if I were going to get behind one and learn it, it would probably be this one. And so we're going to experiment with that. This is especially true with the changes they have made since the OGL debacle of 2023, where they have distanced themselves further from Dungeons & Dragons. They've made some interesting changes to lore and dragons and a few other things. We're going to take a little bit of a dive onto the lore side and the canon side as well. Come along with me. Let's look at Pathfinder 2nd Edition. Let's have some fun with it. If you've got some thoughts, feel free to share them down there in the comments. As always, like, subscribe, follow, do all that fun stuff, share it out. Tell me why I'm wrong or tell me why I'm right. Tell me your favorite RPG. I hope to see you soon, and until I do, remember to be well, be safe, and be awesome, both to yourself and one another.